Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Afsheen Afshar on the line, and he is founder and CEO over at Pilot Wave Holdings Management, and this episode is part of our iConnections Miami series where we bring you the best of those that attended and participated over at iConnections. Afsheen, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Adam. Great to meet you.
All right, so we got a lot to talk about today, so I definitely want to get into what you're doing over at Pilot Wave Holding Management and also the role of AI and what you're seeing happen in modern VC and PE. So we'll get into that and more, but to get us kicked off, iConnections in Miami. I understand that you were there. I mean, give me some of the background. Is this the first time you've been? Have you been in the past? Like, give me some of the background.
So iConnections is an event where folks who are in broadly defined the alt space go to meet each other and learn about what everyone's doing and also to learn about opportunities for investment. So this was actually Pilot Wave's first time at iConnections.
Oh, man, congrats. Me too. It was my first time. I was like, everybody kept telling me about it, and I'm like, do I really need to be here? Like, come on, you got to come cover this thing. It's like there are amazing things happening. So we're twins on that one, man. So how was it for you, first time? How'd they get you? How was it?
Well, first of all, it was a really enjoyable experience. We got to meet a lot of folks who were very interested and interesting, and we got to make some good connections and have a lot of good follow-ups. I think it's a very exciting time. This is a kind of a hackneyed thing to say, but I think it's very true. It's a very exciting time in the capital markets. It's a very exciting time in technology. It's a very exciting time in investing, and we're at the intersection of all those things. And it was great to meet like-minded individuals and to just learn about each other. As far as how they get us, it was just we are in the throes of starting our first major institutional raise, and we've been pretty self-funded until now. It's all been all my money and the money of friends and family and other partners, and we've had a good amount of success, so we're looking to raise, so we said this is the place to be, and it actually panned out very well.
Amazing. So now, as a first-timer, and I love this time because I have my perspective, but I'm on the media side. I'm not there doing meetings and raising capital and doing what you're doing. So I'm curious in your end, as a first-timer, what do you think made this different, maybe to some other conferences or things that you've been part of? Like, what made this unique and special?
Well, it was very clear people were all there to do business. And I don't want to say that other conferences people are not there to do business.
Sure.
Good business person is always doing business all the time.
Yeah.
But I think people here, even just the way the conference was structured, where it was 2 full days of folks just meeting each other in various different one-on-ones, and everyone was very energized and goal-oriented, and let's see if there's a business to do. And that was very, very exciting to see and very exciting to be part of.
Yeah, definitely. I have to agree with that. I hear, you got between their app and the technology and everything, like getting meetings scheduled and everything, I heard it was just a breeze in that sense. So that's awesome.
Yep.
Let's switch it up a bit here, Afsheen. Let's get into Pilot Wave Holding Management. So tell us, I see the term founder, of course, so tell us a little bit more about the firm and why you started it.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So Pilot Wave is something that I founded with 2 other founding partners in late 2018, 2019. And the one-liner is that we are, as far as we can tell, the first and most successful AI roll-up. And your next immediate question is, well, what is an AI roll-up? It's actually not a term that we invented or frankly, we even like. It's a term that the market has come up with in the past maybe year or so. And it refers to the strategy of, and it's an acquisition strategy of buying what I would describe as Main Street style businesses and growing them and rolling them using AI transformations and modern technology. And unlike most of the other folks who started down this path, and they've been maybe last year or so, we've been at it for about 7 or 8 years, and we've been very successful, as I mentioned earlier, totally self-funded. And the reason we founded it 7 years ago, as opposed to the last couple of years where AI has really exploded, is, and I love the name of your podcast, it's very mission-oriented. Our mission is really being a capitalistic counterweight to help Main Street be competitive against Silicon Valley and Wall Street. And that's why we exist. We exist to really help Main Street businesses be competitive in the modern age.
Yeah. And I'm a fan of that term, and I was like, man, whoever thought of that was some good marketing around that one, right? The AI roll-up. I was like, what was, because if you think about it, like, obviously this is AI being implemented, but once upon a time we did but the same thing was done for businesses going online and like digitizing and all those things. I'm like, so like, But this one, I was like, oh, that sounds sexy. That's good.
It does. The reason I think it's a little bit of misleading is because to me, when I hear AI roll-up, I think you're buying AI companies and stitching them together.
Yes.
So if I were to say, look, I'm doing like a healthcare roll-up, targets are the healthcare companies. In this instance, however, the targets are actually not AI companies at all. They are a construction company. They're a logistics firm. They're a restaurant chain. They're an e-commerce business. Those are all
good marketing, though, Afsheen, and you know it.
It is. You know, I recognize good marketing when I see it, sir, and this is definitely good marketing.
That's awesome. Well, let's get into how you are utilizing AI in your firm and also in these companies. So where do you want to start with that part? I'm interested.
Yeah, so the punchline is, I like to keep it simple, is we use AI at every step in the process. We use it to find deals. We use it to analyze deals. We use it to due diligence, which I would think in many ways is table stakes and somewhat less sexy. Where it becomes more sexy and more value accretive, if you want to use that term, is post-transaction, where we use it for helping grow the revenue and decrease costs. And I think people, a lot of times when they think about technology, they focus on cost decreasing, which is of course important, but we actually focus on revenue generation. But most interestingly, I would argue, is that where we use it is in creating entirely new AI-driven businesses inside of Main Street businesses. So we're very excited when we do that, because that allows sort of the Main Street company to benefit from the very large tech valuations that otherwise they wouldn't have access to, which is in spirit with our mission.
So do you feel this makes you unique in that whole PE space? I mean, I want to go further into like what you're seeing.
Yeah. So look, in the past 2 years, I would argue, a lot of folks have started to say they do this and furthermore invest capital against doing this. I would argue that a lot of folks have struggled because the thing that makes us unique is, I always talk about to my teams and over my career prior to Pilot Wave, around having hybrid capabilities, being both broad and deep. In order to do what we do at Pilot Wave or do an AI roll-up, you need to have at least 3 different types of skills that are rare even by themselves, let alone together. The first is you need to know how to actually do deals. You actually need to be a private equity deal person. And by the way, that's a skill unto itself that a lot of folks don't put the effort to figure out how to do, because you know how to structure and talk to the capital markets, et cetera. The second is you actually need to know technology. You actually need to be an AI expert. Now, my saying that might sound crazy to you, because of course, if you're going to do an AI role, you need to know AI, but you'd be surprised. Or maybe you wouldn't be surprised at how often people say, I'm going to deploy X to a business, and they actually don't know how that X even works at all. So you need to be an actual AI expert as well. And the third thing is you need to understand how to run an operation. You need to be an operator, which is the language of private equity and venture capital. So you need to know all those 3 things. And as far as I know, we're the only firm that I'm aware of that has invested a lot of effort and has a foundership with the backgrounds across all 3 things. Now, I know I didn't mention our backgrounds, but just quickly, I have a PhD in what would now be called AI from Stanford. I'm also a former senior investment partner at Cerberus and an operating partner at Cerberus. And I've spent a bunch of time in a bunch of different industries. And that's just me, let alone the rest of my team. So that breadth and depth, I think, is key to being successful.
So based on your background, number one, what you just shared, and also what your mandate, right, for your firm, you have I feel you have a unique vantage point. What kind of trends are you seeing just overall in the alts industry as it relates to AI? Like, what are you seeing?
Yeah, so I think we see a lot of folks very excited about starting an AI roll-up. You can just do a very casual Google of the phrase AI roll-up, and you will see 12 to 36 firms doing this. So I think the AI roll-up itself has become a trend, and we're very fortunate and somewhat studious, I would say. It's not just luck, it's also some skill. I'll give us some credit for being ahead of the curve there. So that's a trend. And I think part of that trend is using the open source capabilities that exist and infusing them in these various companies. And I don't know how much your listenership knows about the various advances in AI in the past even 2 months. There's been enormous strides forward with something called OpenClaw, and the various different foundational models have all gone forward. I'm happy to talk about them if that's interesting. But bottom line is AI has advanced itself quite a bit, and folks are trying to insert that into the companies that they look to buy. And sort of further, as a general PE VC trend, we've seen PE sort of lean into the VC side of things, and we've seen VC lean into the PE side of things. Because if you look at the folks who are doing these AI roll-ups, just keep it grounded to AI, a lot of them are venture capital firms or growth firms that really have not historically wanted to do private equity style deals. So I see a merging of that as more and more capital goes into the alt industry.
So from your vantage point, what excites you the most about this whole space right now? Like, and it could be for your firm, it could be for you personally. I'm just curious, like in general, I'm trying to look through the eyes of you and your understanding for what's taking place in AI.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say something that many others have said similarly. I think we're at a unique moment in human history. I think the capability that AI broadly defined is enabling folks to do is something that we've not seen, frankly, ever. But if you want to compare it to something, it would be sort of the Industrial Revolution of the late 19th century. That is going to result in a lot of growth overall for our economy, but I think we need to be very prudent in how we allocate those capabilities. And to bring it back to our mission, that's why our mission is what it is. I mean, we could have chosen to become a pure tech play given our backgrounds, but we think it's more important to make sure that there are folks who are not being left behind. And that's why we think from an investment opportunity, but also from a societal mandate, we are spending a lot of our energy in making sure that Main Street is right up there with Silicon Valley and Wall Street.
Yeah, love it. Afsheen, this has been great, man. I love to see the world through your eyes for a little bit and what's going on in AI. That being said, if somebody wants to follow up, they want to learn more about Pilot Wave Holdings Management and connect with you and your team, how do they do that?
Sure. So obviously we have our website, pilotwaveholdings.com. Send an email to info@pilotwaveholdings.com. You can obviously follow us on all social media. And with my name, Afsheen Afshar, I'm very easily findable. So Afsheen Afshar, you just Google that and you'll have all sorts of information how to get to us. But really appreciate the time.
Fantastic. For everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so that you can go and connect with Afsheen. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Yes, you heard me correct. It's daily. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration. So hit that subscribe or follow button. And Afsheen, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks again for coming on.
Thanks very much. It's been fun.